Hey everybody. So today I just wanted to talk about just what it means to take initiative, right? Because something I've been feeling a lot recently is that I noticed that I'd had these goals that I've had for a really long time and they hadn't been accomplished for a while. And just it's been hard to feel like I'm getting anything going, right? And recently I kind of had this revelation in myself that like no matter what it is that you do, like you were really only going to arrive obviously by setting the intention and taking action every day. But like more importantly, you have to be your goals, if that makes sense, right? So what I mean is that is like I've always made my goals as though there's this thing outside of me and I'm trying to accomplish my goals, right? Versus living like in today and being like, what is the way I can live today that if I live this way today and chalk it up as a win, will eventually move me towards what I need to do. Because the difference between the best version of yourself and the version of you right now is just really how well you do something, not the thing you're doing, right? So, for instance, let's say I want to jump high and I want to have like a 40-inch vertical. You might be like, okay, well, I've got to work on this. I got to do box jumps. I got to do that. But like the guy who jumps 40 inches in the air, he jumps. And so I realized if I want to jump 40 inches in the air, when say my vertical is only like 29 inches or 30 inches, I got to still jump. And the idea is that by jumping when I'm at 30 inches, I'll eventually get to 31, 32, 34, 35, all the way up to 40. If it's obviously if I'm able to genetically do it in this example. But the idea is that like just doing and being who I want to be within that day and not doing something in order to obtain something, right? And I have a tendency to burn myself out because in this effort to take all this initiative or whatever, I'm like, man, like I'm going to like try and do my best to like do this and really make a presence known or whatever, but like ultimately things don't really pick up or whatever. And I more so am starting to realize that like, oh, like the biggest thing that's going to make a difference is what I do today, how I feel about it and how I execute it today, because today is all I have, right? Like the goals, and it's frustrating because like I look back on those 6 years and I haven't really moved closer towards what I wanted. Like I've moved closer, I suppose, but there just hasn't been a lot of focus. And I think something that really hit me recently was just like how much I've been overwhelmed. And I think like I'll probably make a video where I talk about my story, but I realized like one of my things is I want to be a YouTuber, and I always feel like I have to do more or be better, right? And I always have to share more and do more to do it. But I just went and saw this one girl's channel. She has like 75,000 followers. And just from her sitting in front of the camera and talking, she's got like 75,000 people listening to her. And like some of the stuff she says is very like, it's young, like it's a young person like having and sharing their opinions. But it was like, oh man, like she's got talent for it and she's just kind of being herself. But I realized like when I was, kind of in my full self, I was really sharing it and doing it. I think the difficulty is I always thought that, okay, like if I open up and share this with the people, like I'll meet people who care, but like nothing ever sparked or took off. And like I have over like 200 videos on my channel and nothing has really taken off, right? And I feel like I've kind of been buried in the algorithm or whatever. But I realized like I got really tired because I was doing things earlier just so that I could, I don't know, achieve a certain result and then feel like then I'll be able to do something better. But I realize ultimately, like any level of success or recognition we're going to have is going to have to come from a level of consistency and doing even the smallest version of what it is I want to do, right? And so one of the things is like I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be a writer, I want to learn Spanish, and so I was working on my book earlier today. I didn't do it to the fullest level I could, right? But I did it. I got a chapter done or whatever. And then I was also able to, go to school, learn Spanish, and now I'm making the video. And so it's like, okay, this is the microcosm of what it is I want to do. I'm writing, I'm learning, and I'm recording and detailing and documenting what I do. And that's like this pattern, this rhythm that I want to do. And like I've realized like proactivity is not about taking action. It's about being the rhythm of what you want to be, right? I was meditating today and I realized there's these three core principles, these three core goals I've been working on. So this idea of home, finding companionship, and specifically leveling up my income to a specific level. I have a very specific number that I have in mind for that. And I realized like I thought part of my focus is just I have to focus on that and just only do that, right? But I realized that when I get very myopic in my thinking, first off, I just don't do well and I have a tendency to collapse. I usually do better when I'm able to like have sort of a rhythm, like a trot of what I'm doing where I'm working a little bit on this, working a little bit on that, working a little bit on this. And I realize every time I've ever found success, it's always been that way. And allowing it to organically build and grow and not necessarily react to the tendencies or the efforts and things around me. And this weekend, I was really bogged down because about 2 weeks ago, I kind of had a breakup with a friend of mine, and it's a friend that I've had for a really long time, and it was really tough. It was really tough on me, and I realized like I didn't even recognize I was mourning and getting over the grief of that process until the last 2 weeks, until like literally yesterday. I woke up and I started just feeling better today, and I went to school and I was just like feeling more focused, and I realized like, oh shit, like I was mourning the loss of this friend this whole time, right? And sort of the situation and everything that was going through that. And I'm in this really weird place where I guess I just have to keep going and just to kind of find my rhythm, because I felt like recently that I got a very strong sense of who I wanted to become and what I want to do, but I have to associate and find that rhythm, and it's really just those core principles, that companionship, that home, having a very solid home, solid companionship, and then like a very solid income source to be able to have and get like receive value and give value, right? And those three things were kind of coming along. And the idea is that like if I work on each of those every single day, I should advance and move towards that. But specifically what those look like and like crystallization, I'm letting go of trying to control what that needs to look like. And so, I'd been making videos and posting them, and like I'd just been kind of all over the place. But while I was meditating today, I've got this very strong sense of what the rhythm needed to feel like and look like. And I just realized like, oh, I just need to step into that. And I saw this girl was just making videos looking at her face, and I was like, if I made videos for a year, making relevant topics and just doing it, like really expressing myself and talking and just being consistent at that, what could happen? I did it for about 2 months, and I'll be honest, I didn't really see any traction. And I've done it a bunch of times, but I've never had like a really consistent, elongated effort. And I realized like that consistency is what I've been looking for and what I've been needing. And I really wanted to find that. So from now on, so it's November 11th. And so until next year, my goal is, so it's 11/11, right? My goal is next year, 12/12, 2025. I'm just going to see what happens if I make a video every day. And just going to do my best, make the video, upload it, right? And then just make a video every single day and just do my best to try and find a topic or something that is relevant, and that's sort of an insight or whatever. And I realize ultimately at the end of the day, like I can give value, but people are going to follow and like if they just want to spend and talk to me. And honestly, it wasn't until recently that I realized that like there's enough value in who I am that I don't need to do all this extra stuff. And for the longest time, I always felt like I had to do this extra stuff. And I was like, man, like why can't this person just like be, and they're able to get it? and I never felt like I could just be and get what I wanted. But I'm running the experiment and just being like, for the first time in my life, like this year, if I'm just going to be myself and not try to do a bunch of extra stuff, can I roll forward to success? Because all this trying and, all this intention and this conscious effort, it hasn't gotten me shit. I've been doing it for 6 years, like pretty intensely. And I'll be honest, it hasn't gotten me shit. Anytime I ever really accomplished anything, like I wanted to do it, but like I was kind of just made sure I was enjoying myself. Like there was a couple times, like my very first novel, not even then, like I said about and I was like, I'm gonna do it every day. But like I just tried to make sure I had fun. And I remember being so exhausted writing that first novel. But like my first book, I was just enjoying the process. I was a little stressed out about it because I had dates and stuff in my mind. But that's just kind of how I operated more then. I wasn't as flowy as I am now. I was a lot more rigid in my thinking. But even then, like I was just enjoying my book and having fun. But I realized, especially the last like 6 years to like especially the last 4 or 5, just this like conscious trying, like the trying has not worked. Anytime like things really worked out for me, it was there was always a lot of effort, and I'm not gonna lie, and I was like focused. But whenever I've been more like exposed expansive in my thinking and like playing basketball and just kind of living a life, just living my life, I've always moved better, right? But I've realized I spent so much time trying to get my goals and not accomplishing them. And the times I accomplished my goals were when I wasn't really trying to accomplish my goals. I was just living my life and they were kind of coming. So, but now I'm in a really interesting place because I feel like whatever cycle that I've been living in, and we'll talk more about that because I'm going to try and make interesting video topics because I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. I just know that every single day I've got to talk about it, and I've got to try and find stuff that, people are going to find interesting. And then just, after a year, if, nobody does it or whatever, I'll, freaking jump off a cliff or something to make a final hurrah or whatever because nobody cares about me. And I low-key really believe that. But like, this is this is a conscious effort to break that stereotype, to break that idea, because I think there might actually be someone who cares about me. So anyway, I try not to talk more than 12 minutes, so I'm at an end here. But yeah, just finding the rhythm again, and everything starts now. Peace.